If you are a buyer or seller or an agent representing buyers or sellers in the Boise area, or you have referrals for the Boise area, here is your market update through the end of January 2026. For those of you that this is way too long, you're not going to watch the whole thing, here's the top 3 things you need to know. Inventory, but so are pendings and so are closed sales. If you want to dive into that with me, watch the rest of this video. So, what are the numbers saying? As always, I like to start with this chart on the top left side. Really, real estate is obviously local. We're taking a look at Ada County here. Something I'd want you to be aware of is real estate's all about supply and demand. If you want to know what's happening with pricing or where it's going to be going or where it came from, all you got to do is look at the supply and demand. That's why we focus so much on the 3 main pieces. What are the active listings? How many closed are there and how many pending are there? That's going to give us an idea of trajectory. And then of course, we can dive into some more complicated numbers, which show absorption rate. I'll explain that in this video. So let's take a peek real quick. So the active listings through the end of January is 692. So that's down slightly month over month, but year over year, it's actually up 18%. So you might be thinking, gosh, 18%, that's a lot. Is that going to cause some sort of shock? I would just want you to know that we could use quite a bit more inventory in the Boise area. That is not a shock. It's a number that I'd like to see even higher as we move forward. Let's dive into the pendings. So the pendings are 478 for January. That is up pretty significantly over December. I think we're somewhere in the range of like 30%. Year over year, however, we're up 6%. So it's not very far off from where we were this time last year. And then closed sales are 336 versus year over year 321. So what does all that mean? I think the pieces that I would take away from this are we are in a pretty healthy market. We've seen inventory tick up a little bit, but we've also seen rates near the lows they've been for the last 3 years. This has caused quite a bit of demand. In fact, homes that are priced right today are selling in our market. So if your home's not selling and you're wondering why, you can, of course, reach out to your favorite City of Trees real estate agent, figure out what is going on with your property, if it's priced right, and what are some of the other things that we can do to get your home sold. Homes that are priced right, in good condition, with access and marketed properly are pretty much moving very quickly. Let's look at the numbers so we can see what that looks like. As we back out here just a little bit, you can see the average days on market is 38 for the entire market. Now, this depends on the price point. I'm showing you Ada County for resale here, and you can see that if you're, let's just say from the 500 to 600,000 range, you're 37 days on market. If you're 350 to 400, you're 29 days on market. Some other notable numbers here that we like to look at are what are the months of inventory? So currently we have 1.3 months of supply. Now, this number always goes down this time of year because you have people taking their home off the market for the holidays, people taking their home off the market for the winter. As I'm recording this, it's February 10th. So we get the data usually 5 or 6 days after January. We get this data that I can break down for you guys. So I've got this data for a few days. Most real estate professionals and the overwhelming majority of sellers think that the best time to sell is spring. And they think that spring starts in April or May. The truth is that spring for us really starts around the end of January. Why is this? Middle to end of January. The reason is you have the least amount of inventory on the market, but the buyers are starting to come out of their shell. They're done with the holiday hangover. Right now, we have a really mild winter in the Boise area. So we've got buyers out in masses right now. And then you couple that with the fact that rates are at near lows for the last 3 years. You've got the perfect storm. So if I was a seller right now and I was wanting to maximize the amount of money I can make with the easiest sale, I would absolutely consider listing my property today. I think it's a great time to list your property. Now, there are plenty of buyers out there who think spring starts at the same time that sellers do. But the people who are serious about buying, they're out and looking right now. So if you're serious about selling, it's definitely a good time to consider that. All right, so 1.3 months of supply. This is a very notable one. The over $2 million market, if you remember 4 months ago when I broke this video down, we had a problem in that market. It was over 14 months of supply. Now, those homes didn't sell, by the way. Most of them are just pulled off the market. So I'm anticipating, come back in maybe 3 or 4 months. I'm anticipating this number to go back over into the double digits very, very shortly. I do think we have too much supply. Who knows? Maybe a lot of those over $2 million sellers in the resale market were just triers and they're not serious about selling. But if they come back on the market like they were near the end of last year, which I'm guessing they will, we can easily be back in double digits. So how is absorption rate calculated? Basically, we take the last 12 months sales, and then we take a look at, $1,795 for this 4 to 500K. We take the last 12 months sales, we divide that by 12 to get a velocity, and then we take the active listings and take that velocity, that month's average sales per month, and divide it into the amount of active listings to get a months of inventory. So 4 to 500,000 is less than 1 month supply. In other words, if we had no new listings between now and the end, or between now and 27 days, 0.9 months, we would have 0 homes on the market between 4 and 500,000. So that's a really, really, really competitive price point. So that's another thing you'd want to look at if you're our seller. Where are you in terms of this months of supply? Pretty much every single price point is, very advantageous for a seller right now. This is all the more reason why I think if you're considering selling anytime this year, now is the time to do it. So with that said, I'm going to go ahead and wrap this up right now. That's your market update through the end of January 2026 in the Boise area. As always, I want to make sure we can get you this data for individual zip codes. We can get you this data for different counties. We can get you this data for new construction. We have plenty of data. We love to share it. We love to educate our buyers and sellers, and even the agents who are referring business in this area. So reach out to your favorite City of Trees real estate agent, put a comment wherever you're watching this, or reply to the email where you got it, and let us know. What would you like to know about the market? We'd love to help shed some light on it from our perspective if that helps you. So thanks so much for watching. Again, I'm Chase Craig with City of Trees Real Estate, and I hope you have an amazing day.